Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Picks and Sticks podcast, a fun music podcast where four great friends talk about the music, bands, and songs that they love. I'm Moro.
I'm Gordo.
I'm Cecil.
And I'm Huff.
And this is Picks and Sticks.
On this episode of the podcast, we bring you 10 great songs from Lynyrd Skynyrd. All right, Moro. Not your best intro there, live off the floor, but you know what? We're going to let that ride because shit happens, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
You remembered the band eventually. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, you know. We got, you know what, and that's probably because for the
It's all about timing.
Well, for the first time in a long time, we've actually got a list of like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 episodes that are coming up. And of course, we were talking about a bunch of different bands before you hit record. Then the wheels came off, and then it was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? I thought you were going to pull the chute and start over, but I admire your professionalism.
I can do it over.
No.
No, it's great.
Well, we can do it over.
I know. Let's roll.
No, this is the intro.
Oh.
You fucking live with it.
Let's do it over,
Oh,
but don't delete this part. Let's do it
Well, no, I
twice.
never would.
All right, we'll start over then.
Let's do
All
it
right,
again.
all right, all right, here we go.
That was terrible.
It's a first. I love it.
That was awesome.
See if I can do better this time.
All right.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Picks and Sticks podcast, a fun music podcast where 4 great friends talk about the music, bands, and songs that they love. I'm Moro.
I'm Gordo.
I'm Cecil.
And I'm Huff.
And this is Picks and Sticks.
On this episode of the podcast, we bring you 10 great songs from Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah.
Oh. There we go.
You're
Give me
feeling
a
it there.
solid 10 there.
Feeling it there.
It's coming in hot.
Yeah,
These
Gord's
are the practice rounds.
vaping plugged in. He's got like a 20-foot cord.
Well,
Just for occasions like this.
just in case, that way
That's
you
what
can...
those things are in the gas
Dude,
station.
power
for.
is expensive these days.
Okay, start
Where's
over
that
again.
plugged in?
What, is it gas powered?
It's solar powered.
That's some
Is that
or-
USB?
that's some
Where's that plugged in?
organized.
Like 10
Oh,
feet
I
away.
plugged in the wall.
Into your laptop. I'm sure it's downloading a virus.
Sweet.
That's
You
all
can
good.
plug me in after.
We got lots of electronics here, except it's CBD pens and vape pens and shit. It has
Yeah, nothing useful.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to the new episode of Picks and Sticks. Glad to have you along. Hey, we're closing in on the summer months, right? That's the good news. The bad news.
It was 14 degrees yesterday.
It was unbelievable. That's Celsius for the people in the U.S. that don't know what the fuck the metric system is.
Yeah, so what is that? 45?
I don't know.
I'll figure it out.
Double it and add 30, I think, is what Bob and Doug McKenzie said. So that seems to be the right one.
Oh, wow.
Right. You just double it and add 30. So I hate to start out on a down note, but it's something that I think we should at least make note of, that we lost yet another great musician and somebody I think that, I don't know where you guys are at with Foo Fighters in terms of if you like the band, don't like the band, whatever, but obviously Taylor Hawkins passed away at the age of 50, so very young. You know, the last time we did a 10 great songs, it was the Beatles, and that was right after, what's his name, Mark Lanigan had died. So
Right.
I don't know, man. We're on just this bad streak of guys that we really like, and I'm really having a hard time dealing with this Taylor Hawkins thing.
Yeah, me too. I'm a huge Foo guy. I know you guys all love them too, but it's odd how you can feel so bad for someone that you've never met before. But man,
Yep.
just a great drummer. Great, just seemed like a great dude too. Like he
Seemed
was
like a
well
good dude.
No one seemed to say a bad thing about him.
Yeah.
Right, and he was just a fantastic drummer. And 50's too young, and right in that, we're right in that wheelhouse too. So it's kind of sucks, but yeah, just a bummer. I've been listening to Foo all week.
Yeah,
And it hasn't helped. It just made it worse.
I know.
Now
I've been
thinking
off.
about what we've lost here.
Yeah.
So
Cease, were you going to say something? No?
No.
All I was going to say was...
I got 4 of the 10 substances in my bloodstream, so
Cecil's
chill out a bit.
Cecil's playing a different kind of bingo over there.
Well, Dave's a great drummer. That's how he basically built his career.
Yeah.
And he trusted the Foo Fighters with Taylor Hawkins as a drummer when he's a drummer. So
yeah, he's awesome.
it's pretty cool that he did that. It's pretty shitty that Taylor's gone. That's all I really have to say.
I don't know if you guys remember when he joined the band. So it would have been on tour for The Color and the Shape, because Dave did the drumming for that album. And
right.
I remember hearing that. I was really interested who they were going to get, knowing that that's a tough gig, right? Being the drummer in a band with a drummer that's so good. So when they got him, I'm like, wait a second, that's the guy
Where'd they find him?
From Alanis's band.
Yeah, and you love
way.
Alanis.
Dude, Alanis's band.
That was Alanis' drummer?
Yeah.
He wasn't
Gord
in the
loves
studio,
Alanis.
but her band that she had together was amazing.
It was a great live band.
Fuck, they
If
were
you
good.
if you watch any live footage.
Not an Alanis fan, but yeah.
Yeah. But I remember watching some of her live performances thinking, wow, this is way better than what I'm hearing on the radio. And this drummer's crazy.
Yeah.
He was so good.
What's your favorite Alanis song?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I have those tender moments and I like the softer Alanis. Other times I like You Ought to Know. Pretty good. It's pretty can't
Nice
go wrong
one.
with that. Yeah.
I was scrambling in my mind to think of an Alanis song, and I couldn't think of it.
exactly.
What's
Isn't
that?
it ironic?
Yeah.
Ironic, which is stupid, and
Yeah, one of my favorite.
Head Over Feet is stupid too.
Yeah. That's why I didn't say those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Hands in My Pocket. I like that one.
Got one hand in my pocket,
Unfortunately,
and another one is.
Unfortunately, they've had to cancel all the Canadian shows.
They had to announce
They're canceling all the shows. They gassed the whole tour.
Did they gas the whole tour?
They
I mean,
had- they had to.
They may or may not reschedule. I mean, that's the thing that scares me is that might be the end of the band. Who knows?
It might be easier for them to find a guitar player to do girls' part than to find a drummer to do hot.
I think-
Yeah, but
you-
then you got a singing drummer, and singing drummer, no bueno.
Dave's been
Collins would say otherwise.
I mean,
No, never
Think
good.
about
Grand
it.
Funk Railroad. No.
No Genesis, no good.
think about it though.
What other Triumph? Triumph had the singing drummer. Yeah, I didn't know that up until I watched that documentary. There's a great documentary on Crave.
Follow your heart.
What do they say?
Triumph, you'd be.
Follow your heart. You've got to follow.
They're a lot better than I thought they were. If you watch that documentary,
They're not here for a good time in a long time.
no.
Who's that?
So maybe Dave packs it in, but I doubt it. He was in Nirvana, and the lead singer, like one of the most iconic guys of our time, passes away, and he keeps going.
Not with that
Start-
band, though. He didn't.
Not with that band, but he'll continue to play music.
Well, I think he will. I'm just thinking that that could be the end of the Foo Fighters.
Could be.
We don't know, which would break my heart because I don't know, I'm a big Foo Fighters guy, and maybe we could do a 10 great songs at some point.
Yeah.
Coming up. We'll have to sneak that in there, but
Maybe we should do Alanis too.
she might appear on a future episode, one of the ones that we talked about. We're not going to spill those beans just yet, but
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
dangle the bait, boys, dangle the bait.
That's really bad. But anyway,
Yeah, that's outstanding. We were talking about that, documentaries and stuff like that. So today's band, if unless we have any more Foo Fighters stuff, but I think maybe we'll move on to. I think we've got lots to say. I'm going to try and do my best not to mispronounce the band because I've always pronounced it Lynyrd Skynyrd, not Lynyrd Skynyrd. It's technically Leonard, so we're going to fuck that up. But anyway.
Yeah.
We're talking documentaries. There's a great documentary. We'll probably get into a little bit of that if anybody watched some. But I figured that the way to start, because I think this is a little bit of a different band than we've done before. Maybe the Police might have been in there, but in terms of our overall knowledge and familiarity with the band, I would suggest it'd be fairly low over the four of us. So maybe just go around the table. Before you heard any of this, before we got into any of it, what were your sort of preconceived notions about the band or the perception of the band? Has anyone got any thoughts out of the gate, Morrow?
They just fall into that 70s Southern rock thing where I was like, you know what? I don't want to listen to them. And their songs are like, they have so many popular songs, but they're a very talented band. Very talented. And you know what? I would say they probably made songs for about 25 years more than they should have.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
the original crew,
Yep.
absolutely fucking talented and awesome. So I don't know. Like, I think we're doing the community a service by narrowing the songs down, because I'd say probably 20% of their songs are amazing and the other 80 are, mediocre at best.
Their newer stuff, I think, is very country. So, yeah, that's a good point to make, that we're focusing on the sort of the Ronnie Van Zant years, if you will.
Those are the only listenable years.
They are.
Lynyrd
There's
Skynyrd
100%.
pre plane crash is like Aerosmith pre sobriety.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah,
Totally
It's
on
true.
board.
It's like two different bands.
Unlistenable.
Yeah.
It's so good. And
100%.
then so bad.
Yeah.
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 My familiarity was just like, and I'm being 100% honest, was Freebird
Yeah.
and Sweet Home Alabama. Now, it turns out I knew more songs while listening than I realized, but that's all I could name off the top of my head. And I knew they died in a plane crash, or some guys died in a plane crash in 77.
Yep. 77.
That's all I knew. And then you guys hooked me up with the doc.
Well, and
The doc was great. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that, and I'm going to. What I find interesting, what you just said, is exactly kind of where I was at as well. And wasn't it interesting? It was like the opening scene, or very, very close to the beginning of that documentary. They're talking to somebody, and I just got to look at my note here. It says, they talk about the breadth and the width of the music, and the guy was saying, do you know Lynyrd Skynyrd? And the answer was always, I know Freebird and Sweet Home Alabama. And the guy says, so I would sit the guy down or the person down and play it for them, and then they go, wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And we kind of did the same thing accidentally. That's if we back it up. And
I wasn't a Skynyrd fan until I watched
None of us were.
Dazed and Confused.
That was the
I
other
didn't
song
even
that
know.
I knew. Yeah. Tuesday's
First time I
Gone.
saw Dazed and Confused, and that song is perfect in that movie.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the best movies ever,
Yeah. Yeah.
in my opinion.
The ending
Yeah.
when the Moon Tower party is over, and the cup on the top of the keg, and the dude from Yellowstone, whatever, Benny.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's in the back of that truck. He's all gooned up and that. So that, yeah, there was very little kind of knowledge, I guess, amongst the four of us about
Perfect song after a bender when the sun comes up. You could hear that song start playing as soon as the sun
Yeah.
comes up.
that. So go ahead. No,
Sorry, what's the name of that documentary again? It slipped my mind here.
it is called If I Leave Here Tomorrow.
If I Leave Here Tomorrow, right.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
It's relatively new too, right? The last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't know when it was done. Probably 3-4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
What a bizarre band. 3 guitar players, like
3 crazy good guitar players playing 3 different guitars with different styles and different tones and stuff. Like,
So many guys coming in and out of the lineup at their height. Like it was
well,
weird.
if you try, because normally when I write these notes and stuff, I'll put together sort of a band list, right? Just in case someone says, "Hey, the bass player," and I'm like, "Fuck, I don't remember who the bass player is." And I tried to do that, and when you go on Wikipedia, and it's like, well, they start with this guy, and then this guy left, and then he came back, and he was the bass player, but now he decided now he's playing guitar, and I was just like, I can't follow it. For all intents and purposes, I would say that, we're talking Ronnie Van Zant, the vocalist, Gary Rossington, was pretty steady on guitar. I think Alan Collins on guitar. Ed King was sort of the original guitarist, and he bolted. He got pissed off on the road because things were chaotic. They brought in Steve Gaines, who, of course, died in that plane crash. They had 2 bassists. I did find it funny their keyboardist was Billy Powell. And then drums was Bob Burns, and then he quit.
And then the second drummer has the best name ever. Artemis Pyle. And he's just a hippie from like South Carolina.
They're all hippies. But, to go back to the question, I mean, in terms of the perception, that was kind of it, right? And I think you get a little bit of that I always thought of them more country than Southern rock. And then, you just figured they were just gun-toting, they got the Confederate flag and shit like that. And once you watch the documentary, it completely changed my perception of them and gave me an appreciation for them.
Yeah, they were a lot more innocent with the Confederate flag. They're just, we just want to represent the South. We didn't know.
Yeah, I think we can give them a pass probably on that. There would be some concerns nowadays, but they were authentic rednecks, like from Jacksonville. They weren't these like fake Southern CCR guys, a bunch of donkeys from California talking about the bayou. These guys were
What's wrong with CCR?
I don't know if
these guys jammed in a swamp.
I know they did.
Swamp.
Their jam space was like, I was jealous.
I would agree, they were authentic Southern, but not. I don't know if I'd call them redneck or authentic redneck because again, they were, at least with the lyrics with Ronnie, and not every guy was on the same page, but he was anti-gun, right? Anti-racism, anti-segregation, shit like that. Like, for what you think of when you see Confederate flag, when you think of Southern states and stuff like that, that wasn't what they were about.
Absolutely. They were enlightened, if you will. Like, his lyrics are very much about, I didn't realize, like, just the normal guy, like the modern man, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where a lot of the lyric, where it touches a lot of people, is it's a lot of working class stuff, a lot of simple but honest themes, and guy was a great lyricist. I had no idea. And voice of an angel.
Dude,
the voice is incredible.
Just
incredible.
Best rock voices ever.
Right?
Yeah.
I agree, Cease.
Really good.
Underappreciated, how good he was, really.
What a devastating loss. Again, we're finding these bands, way too late, but for those guys,
if it wasn't for this podcast, we never would have fucking listened to this band.
I agree.
And then we did, and we're like, holy fuck, like, that guy's got an amazing voice. The guitar players are awesome. The musicianship on the first 5 albums is, incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's good after that, but it's kind of like the band. It's not the same band.
So,
right?
One of my favorite parts of that documentary was they're being interviewed. They're about 2 or 3 albums in, and they're being interviewed. And like, hey, now that you've found some success, what are you doing with your money? Like, how are you living differently? The guy looks at him and he's like, well, I got a better fishing boat. Like, that's all he wanted. He just wanted a better fishing boat.
Yeah,
that's all he wanted.
Bubba Gump shrimping.
I really enjoyed that part. They partied hard too. They might have partied harder than any band I've
except
ever
the one
seen.
guy, the one guitar player.
Oh, the guy from
He
California.
never fit in.
Yeah.
The guy that they said, oh, he was stingy with his dope.
That guy never fit in. And he was awesome.
That was Ed King. Yeah, he quit.
Yeah, he quit because of all the partying and stuff.
And he had the light when they took the picture for the one album cover.
The lightning bolt.
The lightning
That's
bolt
right.
was hitting.
What are the odds of capturing that? Like that is that was off of their first album or second? I can't remember.
That was the pronounced album.
But yeah, they captured the lightning bolt in behind that guy's head. It's a great shot.
Absolutely. I found it funny in that doc when they were talking about the road manager had to carry he carried $250,000 in cash in a briefcase at all times to pay for bail, damages, to
hotel
pay off hotel, and he said angry hotel managers and shit like that. The guy he would carry $250,000.
That's a lot back
in a
then.
briefcase.
That's like $2 million now.
Pantera.
That's awesome.
In Vulgar Display of Power. Seen that video?
No.
Oh, that's a
Same thing.
That's a documentary of the damage they do in hotels. It's unbelievable. We gotta watch that right after this.
Oh, really?
I mean, that Ronnie Van Zant was an incredible voice, which we've already mentioned, but everyone seemed to really admire him. Like, he seems like a really nice guy. They always, big heart, sweet guy, always give you the time of day. And then they talked about when he'd get drinking, and then he'd just come at you full force fighting, like absolutely try and break your jaw.
And guys that would or people that were interviewing him for like magazines or whatever. So he'd be sitting here and you'd be interviewing him, and he'd sit there and drink whiskey, and then he'd get really angry, and then they'd finish the interview, and he'd say, "So how are you going to get out of here?" Because the door's behind him, right? So he'd fight the guy from like Rolling Stone or whatever, right?
That was incredible. How are you getting out of here?
How are you getting out of here? And the guy's like, "Fuck."
Well, that's why Buddy with the lightning bolt quit.
Yeah,
he said he couldn't take it anymore. The every time he'd get past that certain point, wanted to fight him.
Well, and another thing that struck me in the documentary as I'm watching it is I'm like, they kept focusing on Ed King, the guy who quit.
Yep.
Gary Rosington, who is the only member from the original band that made it to today, and that Artemis guy who was the second drummer.
Yep.
And I'm like, where's the rest of these guys? I knew a couple died in the plane crash. If you look, it's absolutely tragic. In the last 20 years, how many of them have died? They're all dead.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up.
It's like the Doobie Brothers.
At the end of
there's not one Doobie brother left.
No. At the end of the documentary, it shows like it'll go through a list of like all the guys, and most of them are dead. You can look it up on Wikipedia as well. If you go into former members of Wikipedia, you'll obviously the ones that died in 1977 were part of the plane crash, and there were 6 there, but I think there's only 2 or 3 members. And then it
I worry about us because picks and sticks. Like, we can't get on the same plane together.
No, zero chance.
No,
I mean,
not talented
otherwise
enough.
picks
Seems
and
like
sticks
only good bands and
won't be able to
talented people
continue.
trash.
It's the only way we do it is 4 planes anyway.
We're really safe.
So
each
for the
person
benefit
on a
of,
different plane.
obviously, for the benefit of the people that can't see what we're looking at, we've got a big TV here. Up on it, we have the members. And right now we're looking at 24 members of the band, and we haven't scrolled over. Look how many people were in this.
Yeah, it's true.
It's bananas.
But I mean, and that's not just, if you just go through the list, like the beginning or the early years of the band on Wikipedia, you'll see how many guys changed in and out before they even recorded that first album. It's
I never noticed that.
I'd like to get back to their jam space. I don't think we've given it enough time. Like,
Hell House?
Like to think they actually jammed in like it's basically a shack.
Yeah.
Right beside a swamp.
Yeah.
Right? They wrote the whole first album, so when they recorded it, they just showed up and played it. Right? It took them a few days because they just had her down.
Yeah.
And they just clown packed that thing and just jammed for like, I can't believe how much time and how cool of an environment would that have been.
Cool, but I mean, when they talk about it after, like, it was hot as hell. Like, where were they? Jacksonville?
Yeah.
They're in Florida.
No air conditioning.
No air conditioning. You're in this little hut and a bunch of guys jamming
16
out.
Marshall stacks.
Just sweating your nuts off. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, does anyone, actually, I got a little bit of story I'll tell once we get to this part, but how did we end up deciding to do this? I do remember it was late January. We just finished recording an episode. It might have been the Underrated Bands, or might have been the cover song, something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
And then
I went home.
Gordo went home, and somehow, and sometimes, we'll sit here and we'll just listen to music.
We just sat down and started playing some tunes.
Can I describe from my point of view how it happened, and I'll let you take away? Sorry, Carlin.
Don't say sorry.
I saw you guys. You had a Lynyrd. Someone had heard a Lynyrd song. You're talking about the documentary. You're playing a song. Everyone sat back, and I'm like, "Yeah, now's my time to go."
Documentary must have triggered it.
And then you guys cracked
I think it was
a drink,
Simple Man.
and you were
Simple Man is such a great song.
I could see you guys really leaning into one.
Documentaries because we were talking Beatles doc.
That's what it was.
Lynyrd Skynyrd doc.
That's what it was, because I had COVID and I was going through Netflix and I watched the documentary That's what it was. And I was talking about it. And then somewhere we were listening to a whole bunch of other shit. Gordo, you took off. And then somehow, I don't know, I probably said, oh, you got to play this song. This song's unbelievable. We started listening to it. And then literally we went through that night and we listened to the first, I think, 4 albums straight cover to cover.
Yeah, maybe.
The first 3 for sure.
You guys were only 2 songs in, and when I left, I'm like, that's the next band we'll be doing. I knew it.
Well, and that was the funny thing. So here's the story. So when I showed up to record the whatever it was episode that we were doing, I was flipping through XM radio, and "Slave to the Grind" came on Hair Nation,
Skid Row.
right? So I had that thing fucking cranked as I rolled in, like cranked. And you know how loud it is, like when you've got a tin can basically, and you've got this thing at 11, right? So anyway, I parked the car, don't think anything of it. So usually we come here for a couple of hours, you go home at a reasonable hour. Well, of course, that night we ended up listening to fucking 4 hours of Lynyrd Skynyrd or whatever. And it was about 2:30, I think, that I left. It might have been 2. Somewhere between 2 and 2:30, I think that I left. And of course it was January. So I fucking started my car before I left. So the fucking radio is like cranked. It's 2:30 in the morning. It's out on the road. And I had that thing warming up for probably 15 minutes. So your neighbors and stuff, like the people that are out front, like this thing is on Hair Nation. The best part was it was beyond embarrassing even. Luckily there's no one around. When I get to the car, Unskinny Bop is playing. I'm not even kidding. So I open the door and then it gets louder and it's right in the chorus. Unskinny Bop Bop. And I'm like, fuck me, it's 2:30 in the morning.
What the hell is going on?
I was like, Jesus. I've been sitting on that story for a while. I was trying to figure out when I was going to tell the story. I figured like this might be the time to tell it. And I was like,
That's incredible.
So now every time when I go anywhere, I always turn the radio down.
That is amazing. So
I get that sometimes, warming the car up in the morning. You can hear it.
I think it was you, Carlin, that also saw the doc. You were loving Lynyrd early. You were an advocate.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah. Moral?
If you're a guitar player,
The guitar is amazing.
why would you not love it?
It's almost impossible
They're awesome.
to play.
So
They're fucking awesome.
I listened to the whole 5 albums and a smattering, if you will, of the later stuff, and I found that these guys' top songs are incredible. But I found they fell off a cliff really early for me, like after song maybe 6 or 7.
Oh, they crashed the plane.
Really?
I didn't enjoy the entire 20-song catalog as much as we have with other bands. But
Okay.
but the top 5 are fantastic, but they seem to be, I'm not going to call them one-hit wonders because they're not.
No.
But they didn't have as many great songs as I anticipated. They had a lot of meh and some good stuff.
So you didn't come around as quickly as the rest of us. Because I think the other 3 of us. Maybe it's because you missed the.
I think it's because I missed the night. I should have stayed. I'd be an advocate too, but no.
Maybe
like Simple Man, and we'll get to our list eventually here. But Simple Man is amazing. Like as we said, Voice of an Angel, great song. Mm-hmm. Incredible tune. I didn't know that was one of the songs I'd heard that I didn't know that was Lynyrd.
Oh, okay.
And I've listened. That's been heavy in the rotation. It's a really good tune. Some of the others we'll get to. Yeah, we might have a bit of a.
It's not a good tune. It's a great tune.
It is a great tune.
It is. And,
it is.
And we'll. It is on the top 10, top 11 list.
Yes.
And I'd forgotten how long Freebird is. Do we really need 9.5 minutes?
Yeah,
Come
we
on,
do.
Let's tighten that up, boys.
No, dude.
For Freebird, you do.
Is there a radio edit of it? I hope not.
No.
No, that's one you can't play. You're right.
fuck.
It has to be.
You have to be in the
9.5.
mood for Freebird, though.
Yeah, you do.
I'm always in the mood for
You
Freebird.
got to buckle in because you know it's going
You
to
need
be
10 minutes
Yeah.
of spare time.
You sure do.
But once after your 5 minutes, you're like, fuck, I'm in.
Like the
I
double
can put
guitar
another 5
solo?
in.
Another 5 minute solo, double guitar outro. Come on.
The outro wasn't originally there.
Oh,
Really?
It was
You started jamming?
It was originally the part of whatever it ends up being, the 5 minutes or whatever that you think would be the regular song. When they started playing it live, Ronnie said to the guitarist or whatever, said, "Why don't you guys just do a little something to give me a break?" So he would go and whatever, drink, smoke, whatever that, singers do.
He said he needed to bring his voice down.
Okay. So that was it. And then these guys, and they basically created the Freebird that ended up on the album from kind of playing it live and playing it for people and shit like that. So that's the way it came.
So that was added?
Yeah, from what it was originally intended to be, and then when they started playing shows, like the recorded version is obviously the 9 minutes or whatever.
They used to play that live. They got up to like 20 minutes on that sometimes.
Well, Cease, you've got one more from the road on vinyl, right?
See, give me back my bullets. One before, yeah, sorry, that's a live one. Yes,
the Freebird on that live album is, I think it's 14 and a half minutes. And it's fucking magical.
It's magical.
It's so good. Now we're getting ahead of ourselves, of course,
album,
but
that's
though,
okay.
You know what though? Live always, you can't hide mistakes. That live album is good.
It's really good.
You hear how perfect they are. They're unbelievable. I heard they don't suck live.
No, I like the part in the documentary as well where they have it all filmed where they opened for the Rolling Stones, who they were huge fans of.
Going for the Who before that, which is crazy.
So they're opening for the Stones, and the Stones were jacked to have them as the opening band. And they said, "Hey, just one rule: don't go out in the tongue." So they had this giant stage, and they had the Rolling Stones tongue built out as this like 40-foot extension of the stage, which was pretty crazy. And so what do? They're doing Freebird, and the singer's like, "Fuck this." So he gets the band. They're all out on the tongue. They're all jamming. I guess Mick Jagger, not a happy camper. You can't go out in the tongue.
You can't say don't go on the tongue. Then what's going to happen?
You gotta go. I'm playing
tongue. If
I'm
he said
playing
nothing,
Freebird.
they probably would not have gone on the tongue.
Anyway, it's funny to see him live. He looks back and he's waving them up. Come on. And they're having a great time. They're doing the double guitar. When you have 3 guitar players, you can do a double guitar, no problem. And it looked like a fantastic show. I'm sure they would have been better live than on album for me, if I had to say. What do you think for the live album? Was the live album better than studio, or what do you think?
What the fuck?
Live album's awesome.
Yeah,
Gordon was stalling for time while I was at the beer fridge, and that went horribly wrong.
Yeah, don't look at me to keep the freaking ball rolling.
No, but
here.
they seem to me like they would have been a better live band than studio band. Maybe I'm wrong there, but
No, I think they'd
all
be
bands
incredible.
are better live, aren't they?
Not all.
all good ones.
Good bands are good live.
All good bands are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to me, if you had to compare
Like
them
Clutch.
to their peers of the time, they sound a little bit. They have that thin '70s rock recording, which I'm sure you could speak. They remind me of ZZ Top in a way. They're different, but they remind me of them. But whereas ZZ Top has a little bit more blues, Skynyrd has a little more country, and I think that's where I didn't enjoy them as much.
I
don't love the
their
country,
guitar sounds. They got some like bone crushing guitar sounds.
But they're still better than CCR. Those guys are doggies. Fuck that. We should do a CCR.
I love CCR. What are you talking about?
Just shit all over CCR.
The
for fun.
guitaring is great there too.
It's no Skynyrd. The
but-
3
Yeah, come
guitar
on.
army is unbelievable.
Those fake rednecks. Hard to see the bayou from the end.
Yeah, I don't know what they
with the
use.
punks.
I would assume they got Marshall stacks. Like some of the sounds they get out of their guitars is fucking phenomenal. Where you're like, how is that heavy, but it's a clean sound? It's pretty cool. And that's one of the things I really love about them.
I didn't find any of their songs heavy. Do you got an example? Not to put you on the spot, but whereas ZZ Top, they could get a growl coming out of their studio. I didn't think that these
When
guys...
Simple Man goes into a heavy part, and the guitars are just crushing.
Okay.
What about "Give Me Back My Bullets"? That riff is a Billy Gibbons riff.
Yeah,
That sounds to me like ZZ Top.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so we're 2 for 2. So you're wrong again.
But thinner.
no, the guitars are not thin
Really?
by any means.
Okay.
In Lynyrd Skynyrd.
It could have been the 70s production. I don't know.
Now, if you want to talk about drums, the drummer's a good drummer, and the recording of the drums is fucking garbage.
It's bad
How
on
do
every
they
album.
get that sound?
Feels like they put him in a fucking tin can.
I was
totally
gonna say it's like they put him across the street and forgot to put a mic
Yeah,
on.
because the guitars are like right there.
Yeah.
Big booming guitars,
But the
and the
beginning
drums
of-
are like, like the reverb on the snare drum. Like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah. Cease?
Yo, the beginning of "I Ain't the One." It sounds like he's spinning records.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Like, how
love
they
that.
get that? Like,
Yeah.
that's good drumming, right?
Yeah, that was yeah, that's right.
I think that's production.
That sounds like that's a sound effect.
The drumming recording on all those first 5 albums is really lackluster to me because there's other bands that are not even spending a lot more money. They're getting way more out of
Sounds
that.
like Eric B on drums,
Just
man.
I guess they just focused on the 3 guitar players. Like, yeah, whatever, buddy. Just tune your own drums.
Yeah, it was the 3 guitarists and the voice is really what carried it. A little bit later on when the keyboards, there's a couple songs that sounded like the Billy Preston, what was that?
It's Poison Whiskey where the piano's just out of hand. It's so loud. Like, okay, we know you got a keyboard player.
It sounded
Calm down.
It
He was the
sounded
roadie
like,
too. I like that part of the doc. He was just,
yes, that's right. That's right. But
Yeah.
didn't it sound like the same one that we watched on Let It Be?
Clarence.
Clarence. No, what was the
This theme now, the piano adding the.
Yeah, he was awesome.
the electric
I
piano would have
I don't
been, like,
find the piano in any of the Lynyrd Skynyrd overpowering.
Just the one song.
I don't.
for me.
I find it at times really, really good. But I guess the point I was trying to make is by the time you layer all that shit on, they forgot they had a drummer and a bass player. You don't really, I didn't anyway, notice the bass player that much. Like, it's not like you're like, oh my God, they got a great bass player.
No.
He was just keeping it cool.
It's not like Maiden.
No,
Fucking
not Steve
Lars.
Harris.
no.
There's no Lars in this band.
Asshole.
But really, it's weird that the rhythm section wasn't, in my opinion, given their due in the recording studio. It's so undermixed and not well done.
Could be 70s, like you said.
They do sound like decent players, but
Except Swamp Music. Swamp Music is all drums and bass.
And background singing.
yeah.
Swamp
okay.
music.
Yeah.
Well,
Swamp
you know
music,
what?
yeah, sure.
Should we get into the list?
Let's do the list.
Yeah,
Let's
why
get
not?
in the list. Okay, so here we go. We'll talk about the algorithm, which was broken. We broke the algorithm with the Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Had to rebuild it from scratch.
Had to rebuild it. So it's now algorithm 3.0.
Holy shit!
It was.
I didn't know we had that in the budget.
Dude, it was busted. There was just wires and shit. It looked like the what was it, the garbage scene from Star Wars there. It was
Oh,
just
the
a bunch of
compactor?
wire, the compactor,
Yeah.
just wires and shit. It started to smell. It was out of control. So we had to reload that because we were missing. It was originally just 11 songs, but we recalibrated it and we did end up with the 11. But so essentially the 4 of us will put together our own top 20 lists, and we run it through the patented Picks and Sticks algorithm, and that ranks all the songs. We talk about the top 10, but our playlists, again, we're doing God's work.
We really are.
We put together a playlist for you, the listener. You can get it on Apple Music, you can get it on YouTube Music, you can get it on Spotify. I didn't miss what happened.
There's a flushing. There's a flushing. It's okay. It happens. It's
does.
live, people. It's live.
It is, it's there's a bit of an echo sometimes at the palatial studio, but in any event, so we're gonna talk top 10, top 11. So we've got a tie really for the 10 spot.
I can't freaking believe. Am I mistaken? When we originally did this list earlier in the week, there was 10. And then there was a surprise 11th song because we had to recalibrate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So the list that you have,
I'm fine with that.
I just sent out a text and say, hey, there was an error, so we had to rebuild it. So with 35 points in tied for 10th place, we've got the Ballad of Curtis Lowe.
The ballad.
And we've got Saturday Night Special.
Do we know who Curtis Lowe is? Does anyone know that? I didn't.
He's a black man with white curly hair.
That's right.
It's true. That was teaching a white dude how to play the blues, right?
It's right in the song.
On the dobro.
So where are we at with that song? So Curtis Lowe is Saturday Night Special was the tie.
Saturday Night Special was the other one. And again, Saturday Night Special, when you see the name of the song, and if you kind of listen to the lyrics, you think that it's Southern, all these guys with their fucking guns. It's not really about that at all.
So
CCR,
Saturday
midnight special.
Saturday Night seems like
something special about the South.
I'm just gonna say it. It's almost a good riff. That's my note. It is. It wants to be an iconic 70s riff, and it's almost there, but it's just not quite. It's a good song, but it didn't.
I think it's got a groove to it, man.
Yeah, it does. Totally.
It's got a groove.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, do it. Keep doing it.
yeah. That thing, like, he's got that offbeat kind of drum thing going, like in
Vocals are fantastic.
Vocals are great, but it is it really isn't. It's an anti-gun song. It's about
and that was surprising. You mentioned that earlier, but that was really surprising to me that they were, at least the Ronnie Van Zant was very anti-gun.
Yeah, that's not what I expected.
Too many people getting killed is what he said.
Yeah,
so it was interesting to hear his take on that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
it's because he punched so many people in the face.
That's right.
He was afraid of getting
shot.
He did.
Yeah, that's right.
He's like, fuck guns. I don't want none of these motherfuckers.
They're staying at some sketchy motel in
Guns
Wichita.
are a wild card.
I want unarmed victims.
Yeah, that could be true. But
That's totally true.
The Ballad of Curtis Lowe, it's Curtis Lowe. Right?
What was that?
That's a good song. That was my elbow. That wasn't me fart. That was my elbow.
Did you just shit yourself?
No, didn't happen that way. That is a good song. That is a solid ballad. It's again, working man song. I really dig that one actually. I'm glad I made the list.
That's from their Second Helping album, the second album, obviously. Which we actually have a lot of songs from Second Helping. I would say that'd be our second favorite album. And again, if you look at songs number 9 and number 8 on the list, those are both from Second Helping. Now here's where Swamp Music comes in at 9. So let's talk about Swamp Music a little bit, because Morrow had this as his number 1 song. This is his number 1 song. I had it number 5. You guys didn't have it at all, which is how it snuck into the top 10. But I don't know, man. This is one of the songs to me that I really, really like the drums. I mean, the sound, again, not so great, but it's got that cool piano. It's got the Hammond, the Reggie Hammond. Give me some trim.
Yeah.
It's got the I need to get me some trim. But you know what this is, and it's funny. Like, I had these notes, and we never share what we're going to talk about or whatever ahead of time. You guys get into the CCR talk and stuff like that, and I wrote down what this song is. Really good CCR. That's what this is.
Yeah.
If CCR was any good, they would write Swamp Music.
But they're not, so they didn't write anything close to that.
It is amazing guitar playing.
Oh,
just incredible. And it's got that, I don't know what the beat is. It's shuffle.
It's a little shuffle.
Yeah.
A little shuffle to it.
Bam, 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 bam. It's got a little funk to it. Like it.
yeah.
That's the one song where I'm like, I just love it.
I wrote down there, because I'm not a guitar guy, obviously. There's so much good going on with the guitars. That's all that's how I could only put it into words. When you listen to it, the 3 different guitars, the different tones, and how they play off each other, it was just it's a cornucopia of brilliance, is what it is.
Cornucopia. Yeah, it was. I actually really do appreciate.
It actually offends me that you don't like it.
No,
this is a fucking outrage.
I really like how you mentioned that the 3 guitar players play well together. Like they sink back, let the one guy shine, and the other guy comes in, and they have distinctly different sounds.
Yeah,
but with all the same feel. Like it all makes sense.
You hear it all. You
Right?
hear the bass. You hear the drums. You hear the guitars. Like they're playing a really funky song.
Yeah.
And you don't hear a lot of it.
It's
in all their music like that.
It's not like the Foo Fighters who, when they have their third guitar player, it's usually like doing the crunchy, like heavy, kind of playing with the bass. Like these three guys, you can hear distinctly, and I really like that about them.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare them to the Foo Fighters.
No, I certainly wouldn't try.
The guitar they're playing and that. Yeah, no, but there's not a lot of the Foo Fighters don't do that.
But there's not a lot of three guitar bands.
They're a lot like Testament, the way that they
April Wine, another three guitar band.
But yeah, there's not a lot of three guitar bands.
That's some fucking finger picking. That's some
finger
there is
picking
a lot of shit going on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that song. I think first order of business when we're done. I was going to bring my vinyl, but anyway. We'll listen to that again. You need to hear that again, Gord, because you missed something. Number 8 off the same album, which is Second Helping, as I mentioned. The song is Working for MCA.
Good riff. Really good riff. This is the first one on the list where I can honestly say this is a good 70s riff. You can hum along, you can tap your foot. Yeah. You can do whatever Morrow was doing, snapping your fingers with that little dance, but it's a great, that one. Would you not? It's a good solid riff.
Well, I think I probably had it lowest on my list
because you don't like the chorus.
The chorus bugs me,
but I think the chorus is designed that way
to piss me off.
Because I thought about because they're talking about the record company, right? Working for MCA.
Yeah.
So I think they're like, we're badass, and then when they go to the chorus, working for MCA, they kind of slow it. They do that weird kind of timing.
They're walking on the tongue moment.
It's more the
kind of is.
It's for me. It's more the lyrics than it is the music. I don't say this. I won't say this about Lynyrd Skynyrd very often, but for me, the chorus, the lyrics are weak. I just think that it's just not good enough for me,
and that's fine. If you the last 3 minutes of this song with the guitar solos is awesome, like incredible.
I can listen to that shit,
and the vocals are incredible, pretty much throughout.
Everything but the chorus. If we took that song, played it exactly the way it is, but somehow redid the chorus,
don't you like? So
remove the chorus.
Like
he just
what line?
I get it. I actually get it.
I don't have it in front of me.
You just didn't like it. Eh?
Well,
not every song can be like. Hey,
I'll get
Jude.
the research.
You know that, right? Like
what's that?
Not every song can be deep.
Well, no, it's just I don't know.
That's fair.
I get what you're saying, and I agree with it somewhat. But you know what the song is so good that I can sort of excuse the chorus part.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's outside. It's outside. I mean, at the end of the day, it still made my top 20. So I'm not saying it's a dog shit song. It's not fucking Brandon, but it's
working for Brandon.
Working for Brandon. Working for Nona. Maybe that's. But so yeah, I don't want to say that it's a terrible song. That's not what I'm saying. It's. I don't know. It's just when there's a part of a song that you just go, God, I hate this part. And then you just kind of wait for that to be over. And then the rest of it gets in there and it's fucking awesome.
Sure.
That's kind of the way it is for me with that one. All right, boys. So now we've got ourselves a bit of an appetite for destruction type situation here where songs number 7, 6, 5. Holy shit. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 1 are all from their first album, which is pronounced Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can talk about a few of them, but I guess overall, we would say that's our favorite album.
That's vinyl worthy.
Hey, it is. Yeah. I've been looking for it. It's hard to find.
Is it?
Yeah. It's very hard to find. So, I Ain't the One. All I wrote on that one was, what a tremendous opening track on a debut album. We've had those conversations a little bit about debut albums and shit like that. This song is as good as any.
Yep. Great first foot forward, so to speak.
Anyone else on that, or do you want to move on to number 6, Poison Whiskey?
Let's go to Poison Whiskey.
Poison Whiskey.
Hey, we've got a keyboard player. Listen to him ruin this fucking song. What? Dude, it's a good song, but
dude, that's
turn
amazing
down the
song.
piano.
No. Come on. Is it too much Reggie Hammond?
Too much Reggie Hammond. I can't take in that much Reggie at once.
That was my favorite moment of our listening party.
The Poison Whiskey?
Poison Whiskey?
I got a greatest hits album. And then they got those 2 albums. It's not Poison Whiskey. Never heard it before. It was, it's good. It's one of their best songs. I think.
All right. Pretty high. Well, I might have to re-listen.
You've got a greatest hits album?
Or the live? Sorry, that was one of my.
Is it on the live?
No,
on the
when we got our 5 CD changer.
Oh,
and I think where did you used to order CDs? In the
Columbia House.
Yeah, Columbia House. I got Lynyrd Skynyrd Greatest Hits.
Oh,
Highway to Hell.
The brown one, the Skynyrd Zynyrds. Is that what it's called? Skynyrd?
Is that what it's called?
I think it's called Skynyrd Zynyrds.
That's right.
Is that what it is?
Amazing.
I'm fairly sure it is. Let me text the research team here.
So hold on. You've got 2 Skynyrd albums and Hell's Bells on the 5 CD changer. I like this so far. How do you round that out?
Oh shit, I can't remember.
Slayer and Alanis.
Just Alanis. Back when she was the Alanis Morissette.
It's like rain. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it is Skynyrd Zynyrds. Yep, that's the name.
You love that song.
How do they spell innards?
You love that song.
That's
going to be a surprise.
INNYRDS.
Yeah,
how else do you spell it, Gordo?
I knew.
You're goddamn right.
Fucking bonus marks. Did you guys know before the documentary how they got their name? Because I
had no idea.
I had no clue.
I know almost nothing about the band.
Like, wasn't it their grumpy gym teacher? And they just, let's Lynyrd Skynyrd or something. Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Well, it was that combined with Hello Mother, Hello Father.
Yes,
the Camp Granada song in there. There's something about Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Right. So this is either the best way to come up with a band name or the worst, and I don't know which. It's one of those two, though.
I think the spelling is what makes it genius.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, that's how they didn't get sued by that gym teacher.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah. Because you can't fucking do that.
As far as band names go, it's pretty bad.
Why? What's wrong with Lynyrd Skynyrd? Or Lynyrd Skynyrd?
It's like named after a dude? I don't know.
But if you don't know, you don't know where half these bands come
but there's
from.
no vowels in it, right? Sometimes
I guess so. Sometimes why?
right?
It's clever, but it's kind of lame.
It would have been fun as like their second band, like when they played live after a long hiatus. Let's come back as Lynyrd Skynyrd, not whatever their real band name should have been. But they really just milked that for like 55 years now.
It's a brilliant name.
Can't change now.
Well, you can't change it now, but I think it's. I don't know. I've never thought it like that's a bad name.
Then I guess you should have thought a little harder.
This fucking guy. Don't make me bring up your old band names.
Yeah, replacing.
I just find it interesting.
Replacing letters with other letters.
How about before that? Weren't you in Wickerfish?
I don't know who that is.
That's a terrible name.
Agreed.
Wickerfish isn't a bad name. I don't know what it means.
Anything with wicker in it's bad.
I'll tell you the story behind that, allegedly, some other time. But yeah, Lynyrd Skynyrd, I don't know. Think a little harder, boys.
I don't know.
Could have been a bit better.
What would you
would
call
be a great time?
Swamp Boys? Something like that. I don't know.
Swamp
Boys would have been fucking genius.
That sounds like something out of like the Blues Brothers Part 2 or whatever. What was the name of that band? The Good Old Boys. When they went down to that place, and we're the Good Old Boys, and they play at that country bar.
That's right.
Throwing shit on with the chicken wire.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
All right, and now we're talking. Number 5 is Tuesday's Gone, which we've kind of talked about it. If we ever do so, and the listeners, we know that you're well aware of the hair metal. Pardon me, the hair metal. See, I got all choked up since talking about hair metal. That's how excited I am. The hair metal power ballads.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, man. Lynyrd Skynyrd writes one hell of a power ballad, and this is as good as they get.
Absolutely beautiful tune. This is okay. Now we've hit the part of the list where we've upped the ante.
Okay, the sun is shining down on Gord now.
This is a beautiful song.
Is it unreal?
This is where the first song here, where Ronnie his vocals are absolutely golden. Like this guy's voice is something else, and I finally can say that on this song. Beautiful song. Beautiful power ballad. I don't find it a power ballad. It's a very thoughtful, awesome song.
It is, because it starts off, it's Zeppelin-y, where it starts off like that, but then, they go with the big finish.
Oh,
the big
we
finish.
like the big
I love the big
finish.
finish.
You know what? It's
and they
tasteful.
do that a lot.
Tasteful
They
big finish.
finish hard
It's
all
not
the
a
time.
10-minute either. It's just a nice power finish.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
It's 5-6 minutes, right? And then
what are we talking about?
and then a big hard finish, and then you're done. And then, so Dazed and Confused. We talked about that.
Is that the one Metallica redid? Tuesday's
No,
Gone?
they did Whiskey in the Jar, and
No, at the end of
Jar.
they did Tuesday's Gone.
did they?
Yeah.
Did they ruin it? Did Lars
No,
wreck
they
it?
did a great job.
Lars fucking wrecked it, didn't he?
It's
What
the,
a punk.
it's the only note I have on my...
It's the only note he has.
It's the only note I have.
Metallica. That's it.
What's the second note? Does that say giant cowbell?
Jerry Cantrell.
Oh, Jerry Cantrell.
Jerry Cantrell
Jerry
did
It looked,
guitars.
Cantrell.
like, it looked like giant cowbell.
I was trying to lead you into it.
You spelled giant with a J?
Because Jerry did the guitars for the remake.
It was
Really?
good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right, I'll check that out.
Yeah, we'll have to do after listening.
On the Metallica album.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Was that on?
Garage Days Revisited.
Right, and it was it was on the second side with there were some bad Sabbath covers like they did
Yep.
Sabracadabra.
And
And
they
they
had
did.
what's his name from Blues Traveler?
Oh, I hate
on
that
that song.
guy.
How do you know
John.
You don't like Blues Traveler?
What's that guy's name? John Popper.
Yeah, John Pop.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he's
God,
good.
that guy
On the
needs
harp,
a.
he's
He
great.
need. Yeah.
What?
He needs a headbutt.
What's he talking about?
He's dead.
I fucking love.
Well, you know what?
You can go headbutt his gravestone.
That's unfortunate. I don't wish anyone that, but
I'm sure Metallica.
I wanted
fucked
to
that up.
fucking shove that harmonica up his ass.
What are you talking?
You talk
This
about,
is outrageous.
you want to talk about a band when you talk about like certain instruments being way too hot in the mix. Those fucking guys, it was all harmonica. I wanted to slap somebody. I was like, I don't know who produced this, but this guy should fucking be. Oh, I
He
can't.
probably did.
Dude,
Whatever instrument
was
you
that?
play, if you're the producer.
what
you're
was
gonna-
that?
turn that
Once
shit up.
upon a midnight dreary, and then it's just fucking harmonica with the crank. You're just like, Jesus Christ! I gotta go back to Alanis Morissette.
What are you talking? Dude, it literally made me feel like
I love
being
it,
a
dude.
hobo jumping on a train. It's fucking harmonica.
You are
It
a
was
hobo
beautiful.
if you like that shit. That's terrible music. That is absolute dog shit. This is an outrage.
All right.
We're in the
this.
fucking list.
Come on, finish it yourself. I'm done. Fuck you guys.
What else did Metallica ruin on this list?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
It gets better.
Oh, boys, number 4.
Give me 3 steps.
Give me 3 steps. Cecil.
Good story song.
Hey?
Love stories.
It's the opposite of what most songs are about, right? It's about standing up for yourself and shit like that. This song is the exact opposite. This song is like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, give me 3 steps.
Give me 3 steps and I'm
And being
hightailing
a
it.
gentleman. Excuse me.
He must have
My
wrote.
fault.
He wrote this one sober.
Joe Lady's fault. Joe Lady's a stud.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
It's one of those songs, when I hear the intro riff, I just want to change the fucking song. Like,
Really?
yeah.
you don't like the song.
No, when I hear the riff, I love the song.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's kind of the intro riff because it's
Dun, dun,
it's
dun,
like
dun,
overplayed.
dun, dun,
But if
dun.
you listen to the song, it's a fucking awesome song.
It takes too long to get into the
like,
meat. I gotcha.
And I'm like, fuck it.
I'm surprised, Gordo, that you like this song because to me that riff is very country. To me it's a country riff.
This wasn't my favorite. It wasn't high on my list.
Yeah, it was.
That's to be sure. But I mean, it was high enough.
This is number 6.
I
This is my favorite.
It's not high on my list. Number 6.
I had a number 5.
I guess what I could say is it is quite country, but they do it so well. It's a good song, so yeah, it's pretty good. The alternate drunk version when you wrote it was "I'm coming to fuck you up," just so you know. That's not true. Go ahead.
Fuck, that didn't land. Jesus.
Well, Van Zandt, when he comes in, like when he comes in and sings, it changes the whole song. So the intro riff, I'm like, no, I'm not good with it. But as soon as he comes in, I'm like 100% in. It's awesome. Too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you can't help but sing it.
Yeah.
That's how me and Cece are just
sing along.
Hey, what do you need? Oh, there you go. Yeah, so that's number 4. So all these songs off that first album. If you know nothing about Skynyrd, at the very least you got to listen to that first album. So number 3 is the epic song, that the tribute to Duane Allman, Freebird. I don't know if there's any more that I can say about it other than it's my favorite song. I can listen to that.
That was your number 1?
Yeah, I can listen to that outro all day long. The 14-minute live version is awesome. I can't get enough of this song. This is one of those songs I've heard a million times. You'd think you get tired of it, and I can't. Put the bird in the air, boys.
Agreed.
Huge crowd favorite. You can see back in the day, like, this is why people came to watch this one. Big song.
Sometimes I wonder how good it would sound without the slide guitar.
Oh. Hang on, Cease is slide is. Do you not generally not like?
I've never even thought that before.
If you take that out,
Wait.
it might be like the greatest song of all time.
Are you generally not a fan of slide guitar, or just in this song? Like, is slide guitar
wonder.
like
I don't even know. I
DJs
just
and
wonder.
rock bands?
Sometimes I'm like, just that.
Really?
It's literally the calling card for how can we let everyone know we're a
Imagine that
country
wasn't
rock.
in the song. How good
How
would
could
this
you
song
change
Grab the
it,
slide.
though? I would have edited it out. I would have said, Lars, you're the bass. See ya.
Just gassing dudes.
Gas in the okay. That's interesting though, because the slide is a
But
pretty
still,
prominent part.
I had that song way too low. It's their best song.
Anyone who's listened to an epic long tune, Freebird's got to be up there.
Yeah, Cecil fucked that up. You had it number 20 on your list. That's
No,
just a blatant
I was
disregard.
grumpy that day.
And that's what makes it challenging with the riff.
I
with
changed my
the
mind after.
list.
I just was too lazy to do it.
Oh, that's fair.
All right, so number 2 on the overall list is interesting because it's from an album called Give Me Back My Bullets, and this is the first and only song on the top 10 from that album. I think that's a great album. The title track, Give Me Back My Bullets, we talked about it a little bit. For me, that riff is awesome. It's got that ZZ Top sort of feel to it.
We've said this about every song.
And it's not about bullets. It's not about guns.
There's great singing on every one of these songs, but this one shines for me. I don't know what it is. I don't pretend to know what he was singing about per se, but the way he sings with passion is just you can get right into the song quick. He just shines on this one.
If you listen to it's a song about, like, it's a reference to the results of drug and alcohol abuse. So it actually, again, it has nothing to do with guns or any of that shit. It's actually a song about alcoholism and drug abuse.
Which is ironic from this band, right?
Well, that's why I wrote it, right?
Yeah.
Because they weren't afraid to dial up a party here and there.
Sauce.
Hey?
Dude, they hit this.
It's a well-produced tune. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Yeah, the sound on this one is particular. This is the third album or fourth?
It's third. It's tighter.
Yeah.
It's tighter.
Like a tiger.
I think this was the album they struggled to write, too. Like, they showed up for the first time in the studio where they didn't have everything written and they were pressured to get their shit together. So you really like the album?
I think there's some really good songs on there. And I mean, if we look at just the overall top 20, there aren't that many songs, but I Got the Same Old Blues is off that album. Cry for the Bad Man, which is a great tune. I mean,
Overall, it's a pretty good album. I think we can say.
it's pretty good. It's not my favorite. The first one's amazing. The second one
Illustrious.
is good, not as good. Like
Illustrious.
it does decline, but I still feel like this is a band that on every album has one or two really, really good songs.
Yeah.
Whereas there's some bands that when they decline a little bit, their albums aren't that great. This might be, quite frankly, one of those bands that had the plane crash not happened, that they may have played themselves into just being average. Now, I have a hard time believing that, but
We'll never know because they're all
you'll
dead.
never know. But their material on their fifth album or whatever it was is not nearly as good. Anyway.
Hell no.
Before we get to number one,
Yep.
I mean, obviously that plane crash is a tragedy. It was actually very interesting in the documentary how they didn't want to get on the plane. Most of them, they're like, "This plane is
Right.
ghetto," and come on, we'll get it fixed after this next flight. And then tragically, they crashed. But where do you think this band would have gone in the '80s? Would they have gone the ZZ Top route, or would they have just fizzled out? What do you guys think?
Ooh, good question.
They would not have gone to the electronics.
Probably not.
I can't see them doing that. Keyboard shit.
Yeah.
They might have had a few good albums left in them. I'd suggest.
The musicianship would still be there, and you would assume. I mean, Ronnie's a great songwriter, but I don't know. The '80s fucked up everybody. Like it ruined everybody. So I don't know. Maybe they would have been a little more Neil Youngy. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I think I think they had their time. There's only so much they could have written the way they did. Like that Southern rock. Like, think about the Black Crowes. The Black Crowes had 2-3 albums that were good, and then everything else was not good.
The drummers Sue and Chris Robinson. Did you read that?
No, I didn't.
What for?
Royalties.
I
guess he's not getting paid his royalties.
Got to pay the man his money.
So I think for a band that doesn't reinvent themselves, they hit that stagnation. So maybe they would have. I don't know. Unfortunately, they had a big accident, but
Big.
Sorry.
Big accident. That's a great way to summarize that, Morrow.
But if you think about the Black Crowes, the Black Crowes' first 2 albums were fantastic, and then they just fucking disappeared. They couldn't reinvent themselves from.
No, you might be right.
Well, okay, so let's talk about Street Survivors briefly before we get to the number one song, right? Street Survivors had a couple of hits, right? What's Your Name? That Smell was on that album. I don't know what else is really on there, but for the most part, it's not a great album, and the album cover is even worse.
Yeah, it was like the record company gave up on them.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that song for a second before we get to number one? That Smell.
Yeah.
That is one of my deep cuts. If it
Well,
didn't
why are
make-
you fucking talking deep cuts now, you
But
dummy?
I just want to, because you mentioned it.
Oh my God.
I want to talk about.
Have you forgotten how to do the pod?
I clearly have.
This is a fucking outrage.
Just that song lyrically, it's got a lot of premonition about it.
Yeah.
About that smell. That smell isn't literally an odor. It's that. I think they describe it as that sense of bad luck or death around the one guy. And when you read the lyrics, like, wow, that it's pretty crazy that they wrote that not long before their crash. It's one of those weird ones with a lot of coincidence.
Yeah, because they wrote it about somebody else. I can't remember who it was that died in that
I thought it was about one of the band members
in that car wreck. But anyway, you know what's funny is that is a great example. That is another one of those songs that the chorus bugs me. Ooh, that smell!
Oh,
like,
it's not the best.
can't you
Yeah,
smell
you're
that
right.
smell? Like,
You're right.
really?
That
That's what we're doing.
That's the
Smell
terrible
isn't
chorus.
smell isn't a really lyrical or musical sounding
I'll
word.
agree with you on that.
Smell, like you can't sing that nicely to make it rhyme with something great. Am I wrong?
I don't know, but it's just, I mean, you've got what?
Never really liked it.
You've got 4. I liked it more when we did this. I used to really hate that song. I liked it after when I could get over the chorus of it. But I mean, there's 4 short lines in the chorus, and everyone, like, they mentioned smell 4 times in 3 lines or whatever it is. Like, I don't know, man. I just,
that song in my house is like getting rickrolled now. I'll look at the old lady and be like, ooh, that smell. No. Can't get out of her head. Yeah.
Is it worse than the
Nice.
Black
I'll
Sabbath?
just put it on in the background.
Rhyming me with me?
well,
Okay, you know what?
that was incredible.
I was
though.
thinking about that after. It's not. It stops there. Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches in black
At Black Mass. Yeah.
masses. They do it again.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's clever.
They're
Maybe Ozzy was a fucking genius.
pathological.
But he didn't write the lyrics. Wasn't it Iommi? That Tin Man?
No, I think
Oh,
Ozzy
fuck
wrote it.
no.
Didn't he write lots of the lyrics?
think
If
Ozzy
he
wrote that
did, I would be so
I thought Iommi
disappointed.
wrote a lot of the lyrics.
I think Ozzy did most, but I could be
Okay.
mistaken on
Okay.
that one.
Let's do another Black Sabbath
Well-
epi because I don't even fucking remember it.
Let's do it. But
I hope not.
let's get to this number one
Let's do Dio Sabbath.
He's a
only.
guitar hero and a
Can only
band
do Dio
zero.
Sabbath. Holy diva. Fuck, I love that song. I can't get enough of Holy Diver.
Holy
I'll be
Diver?
honest. Oh, dude, it's unbelievable.
You're a very complicated man, Huffman.
You're
A lot of
goddamn-
layers to that onion.
But at the same time, I'm a simple man.
Are
Oh,
you?
you see what I did there?
Oh no!
That is horrible.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
So the number 1 song is "Simple Man." Again, off the debut album. Gordo had it number 1. Me and Morrow had it 2. Cease had it 4. It's just a juggernaut of a song. And we talked about it a little bit, but I don't know. Does anyone want to add anything to "Simple Man"?
Lot of splash.
A lot of splash.
I think the amazing thing that he wrote this, he never wrote any of his lyrics down. He did all of them in his head, and he heard the riff,
Notorious B.I.G.
and he's like, "Yeah, okay, hold on, I'll be back." And he left, and he went over to the I don't know, did he go fishing in the swamp? I don't know, but he came back like half an hour later, and he had all Simple Man done in his head, and then just sang it because we got to sing this, we got to record this right away.
Yeah.
So within a few days or weeks or whatever, they got her down, and literally like the song for every man, like the Simple Man, it sung beautifully. Very deserving number 1.
The vocals, once again, the vocal performance is off the fucking charts.
Yeah, by far his best singing. Would you not agree?
It's hard to say by
you know
far.
what? It's
Maybe not
like
by far.
if you think about rock anthems or songs that you love, like, I don't know how this song couldn't be in there. Like if you had a playlist of 100 songs, this song should be in there because it's a really, really fucking good song.
100%. While I didn't enjoy all their songs, this song made up for all the rest. It's an amazing song. Up there with the best ever.
You kind of knew this was your number 1 song early in the process when I talked to you. You're like,
Yeah.
Simple Man's like one of the great songs I've ever heard.
I listened to Freebird, and then I listened to this because it was next on the list.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh shit, this is Lynyrd. Sorry, Lynyrd.
I know. Whatever.
And then I listened to it like 4 times in a row. It was that good. I'm like, well, this is my obvious number 1. Nothing's going to be better than this. It's perfect the way it is.
It was, I mean, we all had it in our top 4. So, yeah, incredible.
It is their, I would say it is their best song, in my opinion.
The algorithm says so.
I mean, I did pick Swamp Music as my favorite,
Right.
Because you're a CCR guy. You know good CCR when you hear it.
but Simple Man will be, that song will be around forever. Like, people will love that song for a long
And
time.
I know people right now are probably like, how isn't it Sweet Home Alabama?
Alabama.
Because it's not.
It's not, but it did. It
It made the list.
to be fair,
To be fair.
it did make, and I was surprised, to be honest, that a song like "Sweet Home Alabama" made the top 20. I mean, it barely made it, but it did make it. What I found interesting about that song was they Ronnie wrote and then they recorded the song before the first album hit the streets.
That's right.
So they had written that song, and he was like, I really like it the way it is, and I know the longer, when you got a song and then you tweak it and you're always changing it and dicking around with it. He's like, I want to put this down. So he said to the producer, we got to record this now. So that was the first song that they recorded for the second album.
Right.
But the first album hadn't even hit the streets yet.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with Sweet Home Alabama. Like it's one of those songs I've heard 4 billion times, and I don't have time for it.
Well, Morrow says it's incredibly difficult to play.
It sounds hard as hell.
It is hard to play.
Like the picking, and it sounds
Yeah.
difficult.
Well, because there's 3 guitar players playing it. So
Yeah.
you have to pick where you're gonna.
You can find your lane, brother.
Yeah, you gotta find your lane.
Or get 2 buddies.
Yeah.
I wonder what Sweet Home Alabama, how I would have thought of that if I hadn't heard it before. And I can't objectively say. I actually think I might have liked it.
I used to like it. I did struggle with it a little bit. I think it's at the lower end of all of our, Cease had it 19, Gord 15, I had it 16, Morrow had it 18. So it's on the list. It's a good tune. But
And because of that song, I just assumed that they're from Alabama.
Yeah, me
and then
too.
I found out they're from Jackson, which is equally as south. But I'm like, they're
Simple
from
Man
fucking
is
Florida.
Simple Man is boss level compared to Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh, 100%.
In terms of everything about it,
Everything.
the way
Yep.
it's written.
Where did Cease? You had it where on your? Where did Cease have on his list?
Sweet
Surprised
Home
that
Alabama.
I'm surprised
Simple
that
Man,
song
sorry.
doesn't make Cease cry.
Simple Man was 4 on Cecil's list.
Because knowing Cecil the way we do,
I get
and
teary.
he gets misty. I would have thought this one would have made him really
Like
really
weep.
misty. Like weeping misty.
Simple Man makes me misty.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Knew it.
Yeah, I got the Simple Man speech when I was a kid, going to trade school. Yeah.
Well, that
Therapy session.
it's a beautifully sad song. I like it a lot. That'll
Yeah.
be in my rotation. Of all these songs, that one will be in my regular rotation.
Well, that's awesome. So that's the top 11. Again, you can catch the top. Well, I want to say top 20, but we had a bunch of ties and stuff in there. I actually think that our top 20 is probably 22 songs. So you can find that all on YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, and then we're going to add to that list with our deep cuts, which is really where we're at right now. And I'm going to go first because I haven't gone first yet in 2022 on this shit, so it's my turn.
All right.
And I'm keeping it to. I'm going to keep it. This is going to be the first time ever I haven't done 3 or more. I'm going to only do 2. One is Mr. Banker, Mr. Please. It was originally a B-side for Gimme 3 Steps. It's hard to find now that everything's digital and all that. You can find it on. I think it's on Pronounced Lynyrd Skynyrd, the first album. I think they've got on.
They did it as a bonus thing.
Yeah, something like that.
I
But
fucking hate that.
Mr. Banker is such. It's a tremendous tune to me. It's again, it's a great vocal performance. It's just about a guy trying to get money from the bank that doesn't have anything. He's got no home. He's got no money. And he's basically going to trade his Les Paul guitar to the bank so that they can give him money so he can properly bury his father. Very
Jesus.
sad song,
Jesus.
but tremendous song.
So that's not like a wedding song.
No.
Graduation song.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not. And then my second deep cut is a song called "Coming Home."
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, dude.
And so you can find that off of Skynyrd's First and Last, which ended up, I didn't know much about that. And I wanted to make sure that it was a Ronnie Van Zant song. So they had recorded an album that was going to be their first album. And then they gassed it and ended up releasing what we know as being their debut album. And then in 1978, so it was a year after the plane crash, they released that album and that's why it's called Skynyrd's First and Last.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be their first album, but it's a song called "Coming Home." So fucking good. check that song out.
Not the Aussie version, Mama.
No.
Totally different thing.
It's a little, just a touch different.
Touch. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my two. Who's up next?
I'll go. And I think it's in the top 20, so it's The Needle and the Spoon. Oh, yeah. Great song. But that is my deep cut. I think it's in the top 20. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Roll Gypsy Roll. I had another one, but I can't. Oh yeah, it's right here.
Is that?
Honky Tonk Nighttime. Oh yeah, that's some good, great freaking soul one.
Sorry, hang on a second. Let's roll Gypsy Roll.
Roll Gypsy Roll.
What album is that from? Why don't I remember that song?
That is on. I think it's Give Me Back My Boulets. Give me back my bullets.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is. Give me back my bullets.
Oh yeah. It's good.
Nice. And then, sorry, what's your second deep cut?
Honky Tonk Nighttime.
Yeah, that's a great tune.
Crazy solos.
Welcome back, Gord.
Thank you.
Just in time for your deep cuts.
You know what? I'm going to retract my prior deep cut of That Smell. I don't want it on the list.
It's already on the list.
Oh, is it on the list? Well, then I'm just going to stick with That Smell, just because lyrically I liked it.
Yeah, That Smell came in at number 14.
Is that the smell you just left in?
Nope, not that one. If I could pick another deep cut, just because I want to hear it on the playlist twice, would be Simple Man. But I know we've never done that before, and we're not going to start now. But I would love to end the playlist with Simple Man. I'd love to bookend the entire thing with Simple Man.
I'm good with that.
Can we do that?
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Are we making history, boys?
I'd love it if we could end with it too.
Does anyone object?
No.
All right, cool.
Great idea.
Oh.
Thanks, man. Let's do that.
Look at this guy.
Unbelievable song.
Wow, that's outside the box thinking, Gordo. That's
Thank you.
unbelievable.
Right.
You know what? You've been terrible all podcast, and then you just brought it together at the end.
Thanks, man. I knew I'd have my moment.
Great job. Well, there you go. I'll just say, just make sure you tell everyone you know about Picks and Sticks, please. And if you want to get in touch with us, we'd love to hear from you. Email address is picksandstickspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on social media. Instagram is Picks and Sticks Podcast. Twitter is Picks and Sticks 2.
Yes.
And we've got. Do we want to say anything about the future episodes? We've got some great stuff. We got,
man.
What do we got? We got some metal. We got some
thrash metal.
We got some questionable
Guilty pleasures.
We've got a few things in the hopper. So hit that subscribe button in your favorite streaming app.
Yeah.
And really, that's it. We look forward to hearing or talking to you again. I can't even say it, so I'll just say thanks for listening, man. And until next time, see ya!
Awesome.